Transaction denied. Insufficient status. The supermarket scanner flashed red as Alan stared at his phone. Community Contribution Index, 61. Yesterday, 72. Impossible, he whispered. In the green status line, shoppers glanced over, relieved it wasn't them. Not yet. 2 days earlier, Alan Parker had noticed the new towers on his morning commute. Another day, another piece of infrastructure nobody asked for, he muttered to himself, adjusting his rear-view mirror to get a better look at the nearest one. Something about its design seemed different from the standard cell towers, more sophisticated, with what appeared to be advanced sensor arrays positioned at precise intervals. The radio announcer's voice filled his car. City officials have confirmed the overnight activation of the new 5G civic enhancement network. Mayor Wilson calls it a revolutionary step toward a more connected and efficient community. Citizens can expect improved service and innovative features to be rolled out gradually over the coming weeks. Alan changed the station. More corporate government doublespeak, as usual. Everything was always about efficiency these days, but somehow life only seemed to get more complicated, more controlled. He couldn't have known then that by evening, that strange sense of unease would be replaced by something far more tangible, and that the towers would turn a routine trip to buy groceries into his first confrontation with a system designed to sort citizens based on criteria none of them had agreed to. The first hint that something was different came during Alan's lunch break. His phone chimed with a notification he'd never seen before. Civic Link has been automatically activated on your device. This service integrates with all city services to enhance your community experience. Status: calibrating. He frowned, tapping the notification. It opened a sleek interface displaying a circular gauge labeled Community Contribution Index with a question mark in the center. Below it, text read, "Initial assessment in progress. Your profile will be fully activated by 1700 hours today." "Did you get one too?" asked Mira from the adjacent desk, holding up her phone. Alan nodded. "What is this? I never downloaded any Civic Link app." "It's part of the new 5G rollout," said Keith from across the office, not looking up from his computer. "City sent an email about it last month. It's supposed to streamline civil services or something. They're integrating it with everything: transportation, utilities, retail." "I don't remember agreeing to this," Alan said. Keith shrugged. "It was in the terms of service update. You know, the one everyone clicks agree on without reading." Alan tried to delete the app, but the uninstall button was grayed out. Force stop didn't work either. Even restarting his phone made no difference. Civic Link reappeared immediately, still calibrating. By the time Alan left work, the calibration had finished. The empty gauge now displayed a number: 64. Your initial Community Contribution Index has been established. This score may fluctuate based on your ongoing civic participation and community behaviors. Below this cryptic message was a color-coded scale. 80 to 100 was green, 60 to 79 was yellow, 40 to 59 was orange, and below 40 was red. His score of 64 placed him firmly in the yellow range. What determines these numbers? He wondered aloud, scrolling through the app but finding no explanation, just vague references to community standards and civic responsibility metrics. As he drove home, Alan noticed the new towers more deliberately now. They seemed to be positioned at major intersections and near essential services: hospitals, government buildings, and shopping centres. Their blue lights still pulsed in that unnervingly perfect rhythm. His apartment felt unusually quiet that evening. His neighbour's dog, which normally barked at every passing sound, was silent. Even the street outside seemed less active than usual. Alan checked his refrigerator, nearly empty. He'd been planning to shop today anyway. Might as well get it over with, he muttered, grabbing his keys and heading for his car. The Westlake supermarket parking lot was oddly organized when Alan arrived. Two separate entrance lines had formed, one moving quickly, the other significantly backed up. As he approached the main doors, he noticed something new. Sleek, silver scanners had been installed on either side of the entrance, similar in design to the towers he'd seen around the city. A store employee stood nearby, directing people. "Please have your phones ready with CivicLink open," she announced mechanically. Alan watched as the woman ahead of him held her phone up to the scanner. A green light flashed, and she walked through without issue. He pulled out his own phone and opened the CivicLink app, his score of 64 still prominently displayed. When it was his turn, he hesitantly held his phone toward the scanner. A yellow light flashed, and the gate made a different sound. Not a denial, but not the same approval tone he'd heard for others. The employee glanced at his phone. "Yellow status. You'll need to use entrance B, sir." "Entrance B? I've been shopping here for years. What's going on?" "New system," she replied with practiced patience. "Green status uses the main entrance. Yellow status uses entrance B on the side. It's all part of the Civic Resource Optimization Initiative." "And if I don't want to participate in this initiative?" Her expression hardened slightly. "The system is mandatory for all city services and registered businesses, sir. If you prefer not to use CivicLink, you'll need to shop outside city limits." Alan glanced back at his car, calculating. The nearest store outside the city boundary was at least 30 minutes away. With a resigned sigh, he walked toward entrance B, where a line of similarly confused people waited. Entrance B was clearly inferior. A single, narrow door that processed people slowly. Inside, Alan discovered why. Yellow status shoppers were limited to certain aisles, marked with yellow indicators. The fresh produce section, meat department, and several other areas were cordoned off with signs reading, "Green status required." "This is ridiculous," a woman near him muttered. "My score is 78, just 2 points below green. And now I can't buy fresh vegetables?" Alan looked around and noticed something else. People were shopping differently. They seemed conscious of being watched, moving with deliberate care, meticulously returning items to their proper places. Some were even ostentatiously helping other shoppers or cleaning up small messes. Near the limited dairy section available to yellow status shoppers, Alan recognized his neighbor, Thomas. "Any idea what's driving these scores?" Alan asked quietly. Thomas glanced nervously at the ceiling, where small cameras were now clearly visible. "Not sure, but my score jumped 5 points after I reported a broken streetlight yesterday. Dropped 3 points this morning when I was late paying my utility bill." "So it's monitoring our financial transactions too?" Thomas lowered his voice further. "Everything, apparently. My wife's score is 82, and she got a text congratulating her for efficient and sustainable shopping patterns, whatever that means." Alan's phone buzzed. A new notification. "Shopping efficiency alert. Extended stationary periods reduce community flow. Please continue your shopping in a timely manner." He looked up and realized a camera had swiveled to focus directly on him and Thomas. His score, visible on his phone, had dropped a point to 63. "We should probably not be seen together," Thomas whispered. "No offense, but my score's borderline, and I need to get it into the green before my daughter's doctor appointment tomorrow." As Thomas hurried away, Alan felt a chill that had nothing to do with the refrigerated section he was standing in. He finished his shopping quickly, limited to the processed options available in the yellow status aisles. At checkout, he discovered another difference. Yellow status shoppers paid prices approximately 15% higher than those displayed for green status customers. When he finally returned to his car, another notification appeared. Thank you for your purchase. Your resource allocation decisions have been recorded. Community Contribution Index adjusted to 61 inches. 3 points lost, just for grocery shopping. At this rate, he'd be in the orange range within days. Alan woke the next morning to multiple notifications from CivicLink. His score had dropped to 58 overnight, pushing him into the orange range. The explanation simply stated, adjustment based on residential power usage patterns and digital content consumption. They were monitoring his electricity use now, and what he watched or read online. The implications were staggering. His phone rang, his mother calling from the retirement community across town. Alan, something strange is happening, she said, her voice tight with anxiety. They've installed some new system, and my score is only 42. They're saying I can't eat in the main dining room anymore, and my medicine will cost more until I improve my community standing. Your score is low because you're not contributing enough, Alan explained, the absurdity of saying these words to his 78-year-old mother not lost on him. Have you been volunteering or participating in community events? I can barely walk to the mailroom. How am I supposed to volunteer? Her voice cracked. The manager suggested I could improve my score by reporting rule violations by other residents. Alan's grip tightened on his phone. Don't do that, Mom. I'll figure something out. After promising to visit his mother that weekend, Alan headed to work. In the office parking lot, he noticed designated spaces had been reassigned overnight. The best spots now labeled green status parking only. Inside, the differences continued. The break room had a new sign. Green status, full access. Yellow status, 30-minute limit. Orange status, coffee and water only. A scanner by the door, similar to those at the supermarket, monitored who entered and how long they stayed. At his desk, Alan found a memo. Workplace Productivity and Civic Alignment Initiative begins today. Workspace allocations will be optimized based on CivicLink status effective next week. Keith, whose desk was now sporting a small green indicator, leaned over. Better get that score up, Parker. They're moving orange status employees to the basement offices. How is your score so high? Alan asked. You were yellow yesterday, just like me. Keith smiled slightly. Volunteered at the city-approved cleanup event last night. 10-point boost. Plus, I reported 3 neighbors for improper recycling this morning. That's another 5 points. The system was turning neighbors against each other, encouraging surveillance and reporting. It was brilliant in its insidious effectiveness. Alan's workday was punctuated by notifications as his score fluctuated. 2 points lost for excessive printing resources. 1 point gained for prompt deadline compliance. 3 points lost for extended non-work-related digital communications after he spent 15 minutes researching what was happening in other cities. By lunch, a pattern was emerging. The system rewarded compliance, efficiency, and reporting others' violations. It punished questioning excessive resource use by its own undefined standards, and any behavior that deviated from patterns the algorithm deemed optimal. When Alan tried to order lunch delivery, he discovered another new limitation. Orange status citizens could only place orders during non-peak hours. His only option was to use the office cafeteria, where orange status restricted him to the efficiency menu, standardized meals designed for optimal nutritional and resource balance. As he choked down a bland protein bar and vitamin-enhanced water, Alan overheard two green status colleagues discussing the benefits of the new system. "Traffic was amazing this morning," one said. With orange and reds restricted to specific travel times, the roads were practically empty. "And did you see how clean the park is?" added the other. "Amazing what happens when people know they'll lose points for littering." It wasn't just infrastructure, Alan realized. The entire social fabric was being rewoven around this scoring system, and most people were simply accepting it, even celebrating it, as long as they maintained favorable status. His phone buzzed with yet another notification. "Your presence is requested at Community Guidance Center 5 today at 17:30 for status improvement consultation. Attendance will positively affect your community contribution index." Not a request, a summons, and the implied threat was clear: refuse and watch your score drop further. The Community Guidance Center occupied what had been a local community college building just last week. The transformation was remarkable. Sleek new signage, security systems, and of course, status scanners at every entrance. One of the new towers loomed directly above the building, its blue light pulsing like a mechanical heartbeat. Alan checked in at a kiosk that scanned both his phone and his face. "Orange status citizen Alan Parker, reporting for improvement consultation. Please proceed to adjustment room 12. The room was sterile and intimidating. White walls, a single table with two chairs, and a large screen on one wall. The door locked with an audible click behind him. After 5 minutes of waiting, the screen activated, revealing not a person, but an animated avatar with a pleasant, generic face. "Good evening, Citizen Parker. I am your community guidance specialist. According to your profile, your Civic Link status has declined 14 points in the past 26 hours, indicating significant misalignment with community optimization goals." Alan stared at the screen. "I'm talking to an AI. Human specialists are reserved for green status community members and special intervention cases. Your situation is being handled at the appropriate resource allocation level." Of course it was. Even the help to improve your status was determined by your status. The avatar continued. "Analysis indicates several areas of concern. You have expressed skepticism toward the Civic Link system in multiple digital communications. You have engaged in extended conversations about system parameters. You have failed to report 3 observed community standard violations." They were monitoring his text messages, and somehow knew about the teenager he'd seen skateboarding in a no skateboarding zone, the neighbor who put recycling in the wrong bin, and the co-worker who took 2 lunch breaks. Additionally, your resource consumption patterns show inefficiencies. Your social connections include 4 orange status and 2 red status individuals, and your travel patterns indicate unnecessary fuel usage. The avatar's pleasant expression never changed as it systematically dismantled Alan's life, categorizing his every movement, relationship, and choice as either optimized or wasteful. Based on this analysis, we've prepared a civic alignment plan for your review and implementation. A document appeared on the screen. 5 pages of required actions, from changing his shopping habits to severing connections with misaligned friends to participating in specific community reporting activities. "And if I refuse?" Alan asked, already suspecting the answer. "Participation in Civic Link optimization is mandatory for access to all city services and registered businesses. Continued misalignment will result in status demotion to red level, with corresponding access limitations." What limitations specifically? The avatar's expression remained unchanged, but its voice took on a slightly firmer tone. Red status citizens experience temporary restrictions on transportation, purchasing options, communication bandwidth, and certain movement freedoms until realignment is achieved. Movement freedoms. The euphemism chilled Alan to his core. I note from your vital signs and expression that you are experiencing resistance to these guidelines. This is counted as normal initial adjustment difficulty. Would you like to schedule a therapeutic realignment session? No, Alan said firmly. I'll review the document. Excellent. Acceptance of the improvement plan has been noted and will positively impact your score. Your current community contribution index is now 61 inches. 3 points awarded simply for not openly resisting. The carrot after the stick. When Alan left the centre, night had fallen. The city looked different somehow, the towers more prominent in the darkness, their blue lights creating patterns across the urban landscape. Or perhaps he was just seeing more clearly what had always been the plan. His phone buzzed with a new notification. Based on your improvement consultation, we've identified an immediate opportunity for civic contribution. Your neighbour in apartment 5C, Sandra Hayes, has missed her scheduled improvement consultation. Reporting her current location will earn 5 points and demonstrate your commitment to community optimization. Sandra was a single mother who worked 2 jobs. Alan had helped her carry groceries once when her son was sick. Now he was being asked to report her for not attending her own consultation. He stared at the notification for a long moment, then at the pulsing tower visible from the parking lot. The system was designed to be total, its incentives and punishments creating a web of surveillance where citizens monitored each other, all while being monitored themselves. As Alan walked to his car, he made a decision. He would appear to play along, just enough to maintain access to his mother, to basic necessities. But beneath that compliance, he would look for others who recognized what was happening, who hadn't surrendered their autonomy for the sake of convenience or status. His phone buzzed again. Your hesitation regarding the reporting opportunity has been noted. As a one-time consideration, we're extending the response window by 15 minutes. This will be recorded in your civic reliability profile. Alan took a deep breath and made his choice. Whatever happened next, the system had revealed its true nature in less than 48 hours. The towers hadn't just brought faster internet, they had made visible the control mechanisms that had been building beneath the surface for years. Inside his apartment, Alan looked out his window at the city illuminated by the eerie blue glow of the towers. In apartments across the street, he could see people checking their phones, their faces lit by screens showing the same interface that now ruled his life. He wondered how many were already reporting their neighbors, how many were volunteering to patrol for violations, how many were competing for higher status within a system none of them had voted for or genuinely consented to. His phone lit up one final time that night. Behavior pattern analysis complete. Community contribution index adjusted to 56. Status: orange. Notice: downward trajectory detected. Next evaluation threshold: 40 points. Red status. Alan turned his phone face down on the table. Tomorrow he would begin planning, not just how to survive within this system, but how to find others who understood what had really happened when those towers appeared overnight. Because the true purpose of the 5G network had nothing to do with faster downloads or smart city infrastructure. It was about creating a perfect mechanism for control, one that citizens would enforce upon themselves and each other, believing all along they were simply being good community members. As he finally drifted off to sleep, Alan's last thought was of the supermarket, of how quickly people had accepted being sorted, separated, and priced differently based on an arbitrary score, and how nobody had questioned who had designed the algorithm that now determined their worth as citizens.
The story ends, but the system continues. This channel survives because of you. Like, subscribe, and share. The next transmission awaits on screen.